Yo, Stephen A. Smith finally got his revenge on Kevin Hart, and bro, he did not hold back. Like, this was a full-on exposure, and it does not look good for Kevin Hart at all. We're talking sellout allegations, pathological liar allegations. Dog, this is bad. This is really bad for Kevin Hart. But before we get into how Stephen A. got his revenge, we got to talk about why. Because it all traces back to what Kevin Hart said about him during the roast.
The roast of Kevin Hart special on Netflix. Kevin Hart made a pointed joke about his personal Mount Rushmore of racism. A list of people he claims hate black people. Alongside Shane Gillis, Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Hart included my name. Stephen A. Smith. Quote, my Mount Rushmore of racism when it comes to hating black people is Shane Gillis, Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stephen A. Smith. Those are my four people when it comes to hating black people. At least I thought I had pretty good relationship with Kevin Hart. It's been on my show on many occasions. I've known him for years. I don't know. I've taken a lot of heat because of perceived positions that I may have had. And as a result, you've had some people from the Democratic Party who don't know that I'm aware of the steps and the links that they've been willing to go through to silence me, even though I'm somebody that has religiously voted Democrat and I support most Democratic views.
Bro, this dude is so dramatic, like genuinely one of the most dramatic human beings alive. But you know what? I'm glad. I'm actually glad he's this petty and this sensitive, because that sensitivity is exactly what made him go dig up all the receipts we needed to prove that Kevin Hart is a certified sellout, a fraud, and a liar. So thank you for that, Stephen A. Anyway, Stephen A. goes on this whole rant about how disappointed he is in Kevin Hart for making that joke. And then, dog, he takes it even further. He tries to connect the joke to Democrats allegedly trying to silence him. Like, in his mind, this roast joke is just another piece of a bigger conspiracy to destroy his name and shut him up. Nah, but hold on, Stephen A., bro. You are not a Democrat. Let's just be honest about that. All this, they're trying to silence one of their own energy. Bro, I watched you on a podcast look dead into the camera and say you don't know a single Democrat who currently has your vote, and that if you had to vote today, you'd vote for Marco Rubio for president. Marco Rubio. Come on, man. And look, I don't even need to break down how wild that is. It speaks for itself. The man is out here running PR for J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio on a regular basis and still got the nerve to call himself a Democrat in 2026. Nah, dog. That shame is gone. You can't claim that anymore, bro. Just let it go. But anyway, here's Stephen A. explaining in his own words exactly why he's so pressed about what Kevin Hart said at that roast.
Kevin Hart may have been telling a joke. It may have been the latest tasteless one that he told. I have no issue with the joke if it was a joke. If it wasn't a joke, I still wouldn't have an issue with it. I have an issue with the fact that it came from him. Somebody that I kind of know a little bit, that I got a lot of love and respect for. And at a time in my life, knowing I've spent my life fighting on behalf of my community, that people try to continue this narrative about me that I know is false. but that nevertheless still hurts to hear out of the mouth of anyone who knows me. I could respond more vitriolically, but I won't. More incendiary, but I won't. Because Kevin Hart has never once in his lifetime did anything to me that deserves that. And he's too good of a brother and too good of a human being for me to even consider doing something like that. But it stung. Didn't sting quite as much as a few people who I thought were my friends and loved ones that turned their back.
So he spent all that time gassing Kevin Hart up, all them compliments and pleasantries, just to turn around and expose him. Classic setup. But what really gets me is Stephen A. acting genuinely shocked that people don't want to be around him anymore after everything he's done. Like, bro, how are you surprised? Nobody likes bigots. Nobody likes white supremacists. Nobody likes somebody who's out here kissing the ring of Trump like their life depends on it. That's just facts. And you definitely cannot trust a sellout. Like, what is even the point of having a sellout in your corner? The second you find out somebody has a price, the second you realize they're willing to flip on their own people for a bag or a seat at the wrong table, they're done. They're useless to you. And here's the wild part, dog. Even the racists don't fully trust the sellouts. Even they look at these guys sideways. Even white supremacists think a sellout is sus and can't be taken at face value. So think about that for a second. The very people you betrayed us for don't even trust you. They're using you. So why in the world would we trust you? You got nobody. You played yourself from both sides. But anyway, Stephen A. came back and dropped a piece of information about Kevin Hart that most of us did not know. And this ties directly into Kevin Hart's Breakfast Club interview. So buckle up because it's about to connect.
My rebuttal is simplicity. Remove me from it. I didn't say it. If you are upset that the night went on, that's a different conversation. It's nothing I can do. It's a production. It's a live production.
They also said that you saw the jokes beforehand. So you green.
Why am I reading jokes beforehand?
I don't
You
so
the
I
boss.
can
That's
not
what people
laugh,
think.
so I can be in the chair.
You're in charge.
Yeah, you're in charge, so people think that everything falls back on you.
You're never guarding, like you're not acting as a know-all and do-all at the top. Comedians, I need to see everything y'all doing before y'all. That's not what comics do. No comics operate like that. So from Pete to Naeem to Big J to Cheryl to Chelsea, Jeff Ross.
So Kevin Hart's defense when everybody started coming at him, asking why he let them make that disgusting George Floyd joke, why he didn't step in, why he didn't protect that man's legacy from being used for cheap laughs. His answer was basically, hey man, it was live. There was nothing I could do. I never saw the jokes beforehand. Once it's out there, it's out there. Dog, that was a lie. A straight up, bold-faced lie. And we know that now thanks to Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. came back and dropped an absolute bomb on Kevin Hart, like a crater-sized bomb. Stephen A. revealed that Kevin Hart personally approved the removal of 18 jokes from the Netflix special. 18 jokes. Dog, you can't make this up. This man had the power to pull jokes. He was actively reviewing content and making decisions about what stays and what goes. He had full control, and with all that power, all that authority, he did nothing about the George Floyd joke. Nothing. Let it slide completely. And then had the nerve to sit down at the Breakfast Club, look us dead in the face, and say there was nothing he could have done. Nah, dog. Nah. That's not a mistake. That's not an oversight. That's a straight up lie delivered with a straight face. That's disrespectful on a whole different level.
For me, my thinking stopped at the 18 removed jokes. See, I'm an executive producer. I executive produce First Take. I executive produce my Sirius XM shows. I executive produce shows on my YouTube channel. I'm not watching every little thing because I have producers who work under me. And sometimes when stuff is happening in real time, you know what? I'm not there to catch it. I trust that they will. But if I'm watching something, I certainly have the power to make sure that it's edited out. I can tell you that much. And if Kevin Hart, as the executive producer, had the power to edit stuff out, which he did, and you left those jokes in, but you took out the Melania Trump joke, we got a problem. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm taking D.L. Hughley at his word because I didn't watch the whole episode. But I'm taking D.L. Hughley at his word, and he would know. This is his lane. Being a comedian, being a star comedian for many years, knowing the industry and what comes with it, knowing the particulars that what comes with it, I'm going to trust him on this one. The fact of the matter is, if you left that stuff in about George Floyd, left that stuff in about Cheryl Underwood's husband, left that stuff in about slavery and what have you, but you took out Melania Trump, what's that about?
Kevin Hart, bro, you better buckle up right now, because here's the thing about sellouts. These are people the black community has already written off, already moved on from. But if they think throwing you under the bus is going to win them some brownie points back with us, they are not hesitating. All that Kevin Hart is a good brother, I'd never do him like that energy, gone, evaporated. It took 3 days, dog. 3 days before Stephen A. went and dug up real dirt and came back on his show to get at you. And it's not just Stephen A., Kevin. Trust me on this. These sellouts are about to come crawling out the woodwork one by one. It's open season now. It's over. Now, the joke removals. First off, I believe this 1,000%. Of course they pulled the Melania Trump jokes. Of course they wanted no part of that smoke. They saw what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. They know how that goes. Kevin Hart was not about to bring the wrath of Trump down on himself. He knew better. And honestly, I get it. But that's exactly what makes this so infuriating. Why didn't they have that same energy when it came to black people? Why wasn't there that same fear, that same caution, that same, nah, we can't let this slide instinct? They knew if those Trump jokes dropped, it would have been World War IV. They moved accordingly. But black folks, we just got disrespected and they didn't even flinch. Are we too lenient, bro? Are we too forgiving? Because clearly they don't fear the consequences from us the same way. And that's a problem we need to fix. Kevin Hart should not be able to sell another movie, another special, another nothing until we see some real accountability. Because they don't respect us, but best believe they respect what can hurt them.
So you worried about the reaction from Donald Trump and how he might believe something is tasteless, but you're not concerned about the black community and how they would feel about things as it pertains to George Floyd, slavery jokes, Cheryl Underwood's husband committing suicide with her right there on stage, etc. That's where it gets a bit deeper. To me, that's the most salient point that was put out there. That's the biggest point that was made. Of all the people that complained and all the people that got something to say, the bigger point is the point that D.L. Hughley made. A roast is a roast. Kevin Hart's absolutely right. And you got to expect to be offended. He's absolutely right. And you got to expect that some of the material ain't going to be easy to take. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. But if you edited out 18 jokes, how come it couldn't have been 19? How come it couldn't have been 20? How come it couldn't have been 21? 2 or 3 of those jokes getting removed of all the they were saying. That's where it gets a bit deeper. And that's where I think people have a right to be in an uproar over the George Floyd jokes, over the slavery jokes.
Cat Williams might tell you a joke, but he will never tell you a lie. Go back and listen to everything he said about Kevin Hart during that Shannon Sharpe interview and tell me honestly, was any of it a lie? Because, dog, does this situation not prove everything Cat was saying? Does this not show exactly what Kevin Hart is willing to do just to stay close to the power brokers, to the people with money and influence, to whiteness? Like, this proves it. This proves what Kevin Hart is willing to accept, what he's willing to sell out for. And what makes it so much worse is Kevin Hart was the most famous person in that room. Out of all the comedians there, he had the most clout, the most pull, the most power. He had every single opportunity to be that strong black voice in the room, to stand up and protect black people from being disrespected on a global stage. He had the power to do something. Instead, he shrunk. He diminished himself. He swallowed his voice just to make a white supremacist feel comfortable. And let's be clear, Tony Hinchcliffe is a white supremacist. Not allegedly, not arguably. We have seen enough. That's just what it is. And Kevin Hart looked at all of that, looked at everything he could have stood for, and chose comfort over courage. That's shameful, man. That's genuinely shameful. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Did Kevin Hart do anything wrong here? I want to hear from you, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Until then, stay tuned.